this is really an alliance for the ages, what we're talking about here. We've gone well past partnership, a transactional relationship built on barrels, and moved toward a strategic partnership built on bridges and business.
Related to this is going to be the ability of Saudi to square the circle with Israel, join somehow the Abraham Accords. Now, I've heard the Crown Prince many times talk on this, but at some point a deed has to be done if the business is going to flow.
It's above my pay grade for sure, but I'm incredibly optimistic. And based on the things I'm hearing lately, I would say stay tuned for some positive news in the near future.
There are still criticisms of Saudi, and here's the problem for your members, particularly the US side. When you then do hear the criticisms on human rights, for example, the number of executions in Saudi Arabia, judicial executions, etc., etc. You see, the difficulty for you is many of your members, or most of them, are quoted companies, listed companies, who have shareholders who do take an activist interest. How do you balance that off?
Well, everything's a balance, and I don't pretend to speak for the kingdom in that regard, but nor do I pretend to speak for so many other countries that have similar issues that seem to raise less concerns in boardrooms across the US and across the world. I only ask that people judge it on its merits, and I don't think the story of Saudi Arabia is properly told, either in boardrooms or on main streets across this country.
Tell me more about that. I'm interested by what you've just said and how you think that could change.
Well, I've been going to Saudi Arabia professionally for 30 years and otherwise even longer than that. You and I both know that the changes are mind-boggling. The developments, the advancements, the opportunities that have been created over the last 10, 15 years were previously unimaginable. For those who sit from afar and criticize, I only encourage them to go to Saudi Arabia and see for themselves how the lives of girls and women have changed so dramatically, the opportunities that have been created for ballet classes, for health and surgical procedures, for opportunities to feed families, whether it's Madill, Oklahoma, or Medina, Saudi Arabia. The opportunities and the aspirations are equally important, and those have been created in the kingdom beyond our wildest imaginations, frankly, 10, 20 years ago.
One of the big differences I think that we saw in Saudi at FII this time is it's a subtle message, but it's very clear, which is don't come to Saudi just to take the money out. The days of going to Saudi just to fill your boots with contracts. Yeah, the contracts are still there, NEOM, etc., not as much as before. But PIF is not just looking to invest out, it's what you can bring in. How's that reflected?
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And it's a very astute observation. Long gone now are the days where American companies or other foreign companies can show up with suitcases and expect them to be filled with cash, or are there simply to sell services and products without engaging with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in a material and mutually beneficial way. So Vision 2030 is the guiding vision for the kingdom at the moment. U.S. companies, just like all companies, are encouraged to understand what that vision contemplates and to be part of it. So it's really partnership these days. How can U.S. companies partner with Saudi companies and with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in a mutually beneficial way? We all know how goods and services can be sold backwards and forwards. But what we're really looking at the U.S. Saudi Business Council is that intersection of the Venn diagram where both U.S. companies and Saudi companies benefit.